Okay, so today my name is Rebecca. I'm from Perfect Foods, and we are going to have an amazing special guest, Heidi, who has done our 1 month raw vegan reset cleanse, and she also is a super powerhouse of inspiration and has overcome breast cancer with her own healing journey with food as medicine. So she's going to be sharing her story in just a few minutes. And then we'll have some time later for some questions, or if anybody wants to share any insight and any inspiration from there. I just wanted to say something now because we just had someone say right before something about how when you eat raw foods, you know, a lot of people have trouble, especially nowadays, with feeling like with being always hungry or never really feeling satisfied, and like always just wanting to snack and never being aware really of like when they're at their limit, and like just to be satisfied and say, okay, I'm done eating now. We always have this kind of like addictive behavior with food. And you're not the first person to say, and many people say that when you eat raw foods, you get more grounded in your body, and it makes you more aware of how you feel and like if when you're full. And also, there's one thing that I wanted to add to that, because you were kind of like, I don't really know why it is, but I feel more something. I feel like more just able to be full, right? I don't know exactly what it is. But one thing that I wanted to say was that when it comes to
I muted my mute. Oh my God.
when it comes to raw foods, that
I don't know how to.
what's going on?
I'm just gonna leave it.
Cheryl. sorry, Cheryl. I put you on the spot. Okay, everyone's good. So yeah, I just was gonna say that when you're eating raw, you're eating these, especially on the Perfect Foods cleanse, you're eating a ton of wheatgrass and microgreens, which are these like really high concentrated nutrient dense foods. And by eating those, that is when you feel like you're nourished, and you're not used to having such nourishment. Like when you have a nice big juice, or notice, like I know that a lot of times we're like, okay, I'm hungry on a juice cleanse, but like on a good juicing day, when you have like abundance of juice and it's nice green sprout juice, like with sunflower sprouts and pea shoots, you are not hungry. And if you are, you didn't have enough, because I'm telling you, that stuff is filling, it's satisfying. Your body is not used to having that amount of nutrients. And when you have that amount of nutrients, you're actually satisfied in a way that your body isn't even used to ever being. Like imagine being starving, right? Like our bodies, number one, we're not used to being starved. We're not used to actually feeling starved. And number two, we're not used to actually being satisfied. It's like those two, we're always just in this state of either stuffing ourselves or like grazing all the time, you know, like we never really just kind of like are in tune with our bodies, where we just are happy to be eating or happy to stop eating, you know? So I think that when you're eating raw, you have such a high concentration of nutrients that you're actually satisfied in a way that you don't necessarily have ever experienced. And it's almost like you're elated. Someone just asked, will the recording be available for this? Yes, I am recording this. So I'll be sending out an email to my email list in a couple of days with the recording of it. So if you're not on my email list, just put your email in the chat. So yeah, so that is my little spiel on inspiration of eating raw. And that's just one benefit other than the millions of others, like you lose weight, you reduce inflammation, you improve gut health, you feel vibrant, you increase years onto your life, you start to be elated and you feel more joyous, you get more grounded, you get more connected to nature, you're not having processed foods, you feel more authentic, and you just feel good. And that's all that really matters, right? Is just feeling good. So without further ado, I want to share with you Heidi, who is now going to share a little bit of her experience on her own health journey, which many of you who are here with us right now and who are ever in contact with Perfect Foods have health journeys themselves. I mean, we all do, right? But oftentimes, if you found me, you've been on a health journey. Whether it's just been like you wanting to improve your health, or you have some kind of serious health opportunity that you're trying to work on. And hopefully this little talk will inspire you that when you feel like you're in doubt and you feel like you're hopeless, that even those people can find a way out. So even in a state of being hopeless and a state of fear, know that against all odds, there are plenty of people who are in a state of fear and hopelessness that got out of it. So if you're at a place of fear and hopelessness and not sure what the next step is for you and not sure if you're ever going to get to your goal, know that there are plenty of people who felt like they could never get to their goal that did. So you are not the exception, you are the rule. And just keep going with it. And you found your community, you found your family, and we're going to help you get to wherever it is that you want to go. So without further ado, I just want to introduce Heidi. And Heidi, come on up and let's see if I can get you on here. Cancel. Okay, so Heidi, I'll be asking some questions, I suppose, or if you want to just share your story, just introduce yourself and start sharing. And if you want me to, I'll ask some questions along the way. If anybody has questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat. But I guess the first thing would just be to introduce yourself and what started you on this health journey, and what has helped you along the way to keep you motivated, and any tools and tips that you can give to us to keep us inspired.
Okay, sure. So I have a lot to share, and I guess I decided what I was going to say because I think that I'm hoping there are a lot of things or a bunch of things that could be beneficial. And I want to say, before my health journey started with my health crisis, and before that, I thought that I was a relatively healthy person. I mean, I exercised. I thought I ate pretty well, not a lot of processed foods or fast foods, that kind of thing. I did have a lot of stress, which I realize now and didn't realize then. So that was kind of before. But my crisis was the start of my journey, and that started in January of 2016. And I will say, I'm probably going to get on a roll. So if you do have a question, just tell me to hold up, or I probably won't be able to read the chat while I'm talking. So Rebecca, if you see anything in there, just, feel free to ask me.
I'll be your girl for that.
Okay. So it was the end of January of 2016, and I do monthly breast exams. So I hope all of you ladies do that because it's really important. I found a lump in my right breast, and I don't really like to go to doctors, and I always think, oh, everything will be okay. And I'd had some issues in the past that, didn't amount to anything. So I'm like, it's fine. It's going to go away. Well, it didn't go away. And I waited and didn't get it taken care of right away, because that's just how I am. I'm like, oh, it's nothing. I'm too busy at work. Oh, I don't want to make an appointment. So finally I went in May. Found out that I had breast cancer. I had surgery in July. I had a lumpectomy, and everything, my surgery went really well. The cancer hadn't spread. It wasn't in my lymph nodes. It was all contained. The margins were good. So that was awesome. And at first, when I knew, when the surgeon told me, or I knew that she was going to tell me I had breast cancer, I could just tell from what her demeanor was like. And so it wasn't really a shock. It was a shock when I got home. It was a shock when I started thinking about it. But after the shock and the tears, I just knew I had this resolve. I'm like, I am going to be fine. I'm like, I'm going to do everything they tell me to do. I'm going to go through all of this treatments, and I'm going to be fine. It was my mindset. And I think that really helped me starting out and all the way through the process. So just a couple of interesting things about my breast cancer journey, that a month after I had surgery, I was scheduled to take part in a relay running race. We'd signed up for it in the spring, 12-person team, starting at the top of Whiteface Mountain and ending in Utica, New York. So about 249 miles. And 12 people. So each person ran 4 different legs, whatever. And so anyway, I asked my surgeon, I'm like, can I do this race? And she said, well, if you're feeling okay, your surgery went well, you're healed up. So she gave me permission. And so I did that. And one of the reasons I wanted to share that story is because it was a really good thing for me to do. It was tough. It's an overnight thing, so very little sleep, but the camaraderie of the people and the event itself, I couldn't think about my cancer. I couldn't think about anything else but what I was doing in that time. And it was a really good experience. And I'm so glad that I was able to do it, because I forgot about cancer for a day and a half. Then in September, I started chemo in August. And in September, we had a vacation planned to go to Moab, Utah. And again, I asked my oncologist, I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to go on vacation. Am I okay to go? Can we push, a chemo treatment back a week? And she's like, sure, go ahead. So my husband and Eric and I and my sister and a couple other people, we flew out to Denver. At the Denver airport, and we are connecting flight, our plane doesn't come in, so we couldn't fly out that night. And so I slept loosely on the floor of the Denver airport. And I'm laying there thinking, here I am, I got no hair because I lost my hair. So I'm wearing this hat, I got the sleeve on for lymphedema, and I'm laying on a dirty carpet in the airport. What the heck? It's like, you can't make this stuff up. So next morning our plane comes, we flew, and I had vacation in Utah, and again, hiked, mountain biked. There was an afternoon I had to stay back at the house where we stayed to sleep, but I went on vacation and I forgot about my cancer. And that was really important. Again, just to not think about that. Then throughout my treatments, I exercised. I kept my routine as much as possible. Rebecca will tell you I'm a super routine and schedule oriented person. So I kept to my routine. I exercised. I kept working. Luckily, I was able to do those things. And it was important for me to keep with my routine throughout the whole process. Then my chemo sessions, I owned a small business and I was very busy and a lot of stress. And so I actually looked forward to my chemo sessions because I could be there and relax and read. I would take books and just read and relax and kind of enjoy that quiet downtime. So I finished chemo the beginning of December, and I started radiation. I had 25 radiation treatments. And then it was after that, so that finished right about Valentine's Day of 2017. And when you finish, like, nobody tells you what you should do. I mean, my doctors didn't say, like, do you keep living the way you're living? Should you change the way you eat? Anything about your lifestyle? Nobody tells you anything. So it just so happened, and I don't believe in coincidences anymore because of these next two things that happened and the effect that they've had. So the end of March, my husband got an email from a woman who he used to work with, who said that she had just gotten introduced to essential oils and would he be interested in learning about them. And, he doesn't care. He didn't want to know about essential oils. So he sent that email on to me, and I had never met this woman. And I emailed her back, and she came to my house. Her name's Sarah. And she spent about 3 hours and told me all about essential oils and like natural plant derived cleaning and personal care products. And it made total sense to me. So I just jumped in feet first. And I'm a pretty frugal person. So I didn't just throw everything away. I would use up something and then replace it with a better, more natural item. But I use essential oils now every single day. I use them a lot for emotional support, but they're also my go-to if I have something, going on. I'll try them first and see if they work. And if they don't, then I'll go on to something else. And then the next thing that happened was about 2 weeks later, it was the middle of April. Eric and I were going to Rochester for the weekend to visit with some friends. And my friend Sue had breast cancer also. She was one of the first people that I called when I got my diagnosis. And so she said to me, would you be interested in going to a lecture on diet and breast cancer? And I said, sure. I didn't know that diet and breast cancer could be linked. So anyway, we went to this lecture and it was given by Thomas Campbell. So he's the son of T. Colin Campbell. He and his dad wrote the China Study. And he gave this lecture on diet and breast cancer, and they had a nice vegan lunch for us. And it was the first that I had ever really, well, it was the first I'd ever heard of a whole foods plant-based diet and the link between cancer and diet. So again, I get home, I'm like, I'm all in because I'm just the kind of person I am. If something makes sense to me, I'm going to do it. So I changed the way I eat, and I adopted a plant-based lifestyle. I was really strict, like in the beginning, with the no oil. And I use some oil now, but not nearly as much as I used to, and actually very little, and still eat a processed food occasionally, but not very much. So anyway, that was my start of my vegan lifestyle. And so when I got back, I changed the way I eat. I read the China Study. I read the China Study Solution, and I just kept learning more about plant-based eating. And then the next thing I did is I took an online course. I got a certificate in plant-based eating from the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies at eCornell, which is a division of Cornell University. So that's a 6-week program. I learned about some other doctors and researchers. So I read, let's see, Eat to Beat Disease, I think is Dr. William Lee's. He's into angiogenesis. And then I read How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. And I've read other books and continue to educate myself on diet and eating. But I also started working on my mindset, and I'm not really sure like how that started or how I got inspired, but I've read a lot of different books too on, self-development, personal growth, mindset. And I listen to podcasts. I have this whole like routine every morning. I listen to a podcast and another like little email inspiration thing that I get, and I journal. So I do, all of that stuff. And I'm always interested in learning and trying new things. So I'm now like kind of into chaga and learning about that. I was doing kombucha for a while, but I don't have gut issues, so I stopped making kombucha. I just made some fire cider last month because that was something that I just learned about. And then the raw vegan thing happened. That was about a year ago, and I don't really know how I got connected with Rebecca. It was on Facebook, but I don't know if I just randomly found the group or whatever. And then I had a friend who has cancer who decided to go to the Hippocrates Institute last September, and I was going to go with her. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I really didn't feel like I was supposed to go. My gut said, no, you should let her go by herself and experience it alone without you there. So then I decided, okay, if she's going to do that, maybe I should find or do some complementary thing so that I can still like support her and we can like work on this together. And so that was when I decided to sign up for the 4-week cleanse with Rebecca. And that was a really great experience. So I'm pretty much into anything that will naturally support my health. And some things that I have learned along the way are, you're basically your own health advocate. You need to be in control of what you're doing and your care. And if if you're going to a doctor that you don't like, go get a new one. If you're getting treated somewhere and you're not happy with the treatment you're getting, go somewhere. Do research. There's so much information out there. There is conflicting information, but you kind of have to sift through things and pick and choose what you think is best for you, and find somebody to help you. Also, to be persistent and don't give up and be committed to whatever path you choose, and decide for yourself like what makes sense to you. Again, it's kind of like, figuring it out and going through all of, the different information that's out there. And another thing is to don't try and change other people, just change yourself. Because again, I'm an all-in kind of person. And so I always think that other people will feel the same way as me and be into what I'm into. And I found that that is definitely not true. People have to want to change on their own. I mean, you can be an example for somebody. You can be there to help and with information if anybody wants it. But to try and get people to think and feel the same way you do about a lifestyle or a way of life, they're not going to unless they really want to or are ready for it. Some challenges that I still face, because I am very regimented about things, but I struggle with going out to eat. I live in a very rural area. I'm in dairy country, and there just aren't options of vegan or even vegetarian. It's a lot of cheese and meat and just, things that I don't choose to eat. And that was something that I really used to enjoy, was going out to eat, especially with friends. And the other thing is temptations. I am not tempted by dairy or meat or anything like that. For me, it's sweets and salty snack foods. And if I am prepared, like if I have things made, like those energy balls, I just made some of those the other day. They're one of the recipes on the vegan cleanse. If I have those made, I'm good. But if I'm not prepared, and my husband, God love him, he eats what I cook, but he does occasionally have some things in the cupboard. I ask him to hide them, but if I find them, then sometimes I eat things that I'm really not happy with myself afterwards. And then the other thing is I spend a lot more time in the kitchen, and I don't mind cooking. Like, I like to cook, but I don't always want to. And because of the lifestyle, it's not easy, again, and where I live, to just go out and grab things. So I do have some leaf side quick meals from Dr. Michael Greger endorses them, and they're not bad. I have a few of those in the cupboard that, occasionally I'll eat or whatever. And then some things that I would say to someone who is facing a health challenge or crisis: when you first find out about it, breathe, take some really deep breaths and just sit with it a bit. And cry and just let your emotions out, and then just kind of ground yourself and settle. And I believe that mindset is the number one factor in believing that you're going to be okay, that you can figure out how to get through this. And just having that really strong conviction, I really think is super, super important. And don't worry about what other people think or say. If you feel that what you're doing is the best for you, I mean, I know with me, there are people that think I'm crazy that I eat vegan. And if they knew I would eat as much raw vegan as I do, they would think I was crazy. My friend who went to Hippocrates, I mean, again, we're in a rural area and people are very sheltered. I mean, they think that kind of stuff is nuts. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Who cares? You do what's best for you, that you think is the most important, and try things. I mean, the way I feel is like there are all these natural things out there, and why not try them? It's not going to hurt anything. They're all beneficial health things anyway. And if they work, wonderful. I mean, why wouldn't you try them? I mean, that's how I feel. And again, you have to do what you think is best for you. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Community and people. I had a really great support group. I mean, family, friends, my church community, because I live in a small area, just the community in general. I had, really good support, and I asked people for stuff, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It can be very beneficial. If you can connect with people who are going through a similar thing, whether it's, in a group like this, or you can find special groups on Facebook. again, these days it's a lot easier than it used to be to find people to connect with. So I would encourage that. I also would say keep a journal. I kept a very rough one, and I really wish I would have done it more detailed. Just every day, just write it in it and write about your journey. As I was preparing for tonight, I was looking through mine. And of course, it was 6 years ago. So there were things that I had forgotten, but I was looking and I wrote down, you know, how far I ran, what I ate, how I felt. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's good to express that and get it out, but also it's kind of neat to look back at it as well. And then don't isolate or withdraw. And that you can feel like that when you're not feeling well. The tendency is to just kind of, it can be to like just kind of pull in. But we're, as human beings, we're really not meant to live in isolation and by ourselves. And I think it's really important to have that human connection, and you know, to find some type of joy also, and to get your mind off what you're going through. And that can be much easier with others around you and with friends and family. And then this might sound like a weird thing, because when you're in a health crisis or feeling sick, it's hard to be grateful. But from the beginning, I was grateful. I was grateful that I didn't have something worse. I mean, things happen to people every day, and there's always something, some little thing even, that you can be grateful and thankful for. And from what I've read and heard is that the more things you're grateful for, the more things you'll have to be grateful for. And I firmly believe that. And I'll just close by saying that, again, I'm thankful that I got cancer, because I got it for a reason. It's totally changed my life. And sorry, I was going to try not to get emotional, but it totally changed my life, and in a good way. I'm a much better person than I was before. And I've learned so much that it's just, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'm glad that I am where I am. So thank you for letting me share my story. Oh, sorry. I mean, I went through it a couple of times and I thought I was going to be okay, but.
You did amazing. Thank you, Heidi. That was so, no words can describe. No words can describe that.
Any questions for me?
Yeah, anybody who has any questions, please post them in the chat. I have a few questions, but I also wanted to just say to Heidi, like, Heidi just has a very special, like, strong spirit. And I think that that's something that, like, even just watching you right now and like sharing what you're sharing, like, you're sharing it because you want to see the best in everyone, and you want to see them succeed. And it's like
Absolutely.
with like that mind of like, no, by no means are you sharing this for attention. Like, this was the last thing that you want. Right. So to take every word that she says and know that it's for you, that she's here for you. And that's the beautiful thing about Heidi. And that's the beautiful thing about people who have gone through such hardships, is that they come out so strong. They come out like mama bear. They come out like, if you can go through that, you can go through anything. And the human spirit, I mean, throughout history, we've gone through so much, and we are capable of overcoming so much. Like, I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit. We think that we can't handle things, but we can. We think that we're not strong enough to deal with the problem that's in front of us, but we are. And that's a question. My biggest question to you, Heidi, was like, you said that like the most important thing is the mindset, right? And like, I feel like that really is your claim to fame. Like, not only are you really great with being regimented with your food and planning, which was another thing that I think is like really key, is like making sure that you have things prepared. And like, I want to know like what your favorite thing is to eat and whatnot, but also like just mindset. What made you so sure that you were going to be okay? Like, what made you get into that mindset? Because like, I think that a lot of people, like, doubt and sadness comes over them and then they can't really get out of it. Like, what made you so sure?
I'm not really sure, other than, I mean, it was my 50th birthday year, and I'm like, man, I just turned 50 this year and I got cancer, happy birthday. And I just knew that I wasn't done living. There were still so many things that I hadn't done and wanted to do. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be it for me. I'm just like, no, I'm going to, not poor me. It's like, why not me? Like I had a friend whose husband was hit by a car when he was checking the mail one night. This was years ago, and she was pregnant for their third child. And I thought about her. I'm like, what happened to her is like incredibly awful. And I have cancer, and I have breast cancer, which is curable. And I'm like, so I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to be grateful that I don't have something worse. So that was just kind of how I don't know. I made up my mind that I'm going to be all right.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Let's see, there's some questions here. I mean, everyone is praising you. Sue Ellen said, amazing story. Good for you. So glad your surgery went well. You're awesome. So glad you focused on the positive in your life. Essential oils are fantastic and therapeutic. I know someone who in Hawaii who reversed ovarian cancer almost 30 years ago and is still doing well. So good that you are all in person. You had an awesome teachers and mentors. What is Firesider?
Okay. So Firesider is supposed to be a support for your immune system, and it's pretty easy to make. It's something that I could share, I don't know, maybe someplace else, even like the recipe or whatever, but it's apple cider vinegar that you put garlic, horseradish, onion, ginger, and you make it in a quart jar. You also put like peppercorns and cayenne pepper and cinnamon and a bunch of other stuff. And you put it in a jar and you put a tight lid on it and you let it sit for a month. And every day you just shake it a little bit. And after a month, you take the top off, you strain all of that stuff out and keep it in a jar. I was told it could keep on the counter for months, and you just drink between a tablespoon to like a shot of it, like an ounce or so, either every day or when you need it. And it's supposed to be a natural support for your immune system, which if you think about all of those things, I mean, garlic on its own and all those things, even by themselves, can be good for your immune system. So that's Firesider.
I have the juice bars that I sell to. There's one juice bar that's on the east side, the Upper East Side, and they have a shot called the 7 Deadly Sins. And it's with apple cider vinegar, garlic, cayenne, wheatgrass, ginger, I don't know, you name it, 2 other things that are crazy hot, probably hot pepper and maybe something
Probably
else.
oregano.
Probably oregano. Yeah, who knows?
I'm going to have one.
Yeah, it's good. The name is called New Level. It's on the east side, I think on First Avenue. And a lot of juice bars do that now, where they're mixing all the things together. And I'll never forget one time I had a hot shot, a fire shot like that. It hits you in all the wrong places. Yeah, Margaret.
Can I say one thing that I forgot to say at the end is that if there's anybody who wants to reach out for me for whatever reason, because like Rebecca said, I'm not sharing my story for me. I don't feel like really like I'm anybody special, but if I can help, I mean, I try to share my story just if it can benefit anybody. And if there's anybody who wants to reach out to me for whatever reason and I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to do so.
Yeah. I have a coaching program that once you do my 1-month program, you become a coach. So Heidi is in that program now. So if anybody it feels connected to Heidi and feels like, hey, I really appreciate your honesty and your genuineness, and I think that you could help me, just reach out to me and I'll connect you to Heidi. Also, you could, Heidi, if you want to put any information for yourself for them to reach out directly, you can put it in the chat.
Sure.
Margaret said, thank you for sharing your story. It's Cheryl on Margaret's iPad. listening together. I have to leave to take my daughter to dance now. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you, Cheryl and Margaret, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here and for sharing this experience with Heidi. I think it was really special to hear your story, Heidi. I've never really heard it from the beginning up to the end, and I know that you have so much more to share. So stay tuned, everybody. Also, like, I'm going to have Heidi come on and share more stuff about mindset, more stuff about essential oils, more stuff about all the different tricks that we've learned over the years that have helped us to feel more confident. Like Heidi said, more, if that health opportunity hadn't come, we wouldn't be the person that we are today, and we are strong. We are strong, okay? And every single one of you are strong, because you wouldn't be here right now if you weren't. I can tell you that right now. You wouldn't be in this group chat right now if you weren't strong as anything. So thank you for being here. And hey, any experience, little promo on the 1 month cleanse? Like, what was your experience on that? And what was your favorite part of that? Maybe a recipe that you liked, or just what about the 1 month cleanse, after all of your experience and everything that you had learned before that? What did you like about the 1 month cleanse that helped you to elevate your journey?
I think how it made me feel, just eating the raw all the time, it just made me feel really good. And some of the recipes I liked, like I really like the pad thai sauce. I still make that. And the curried cauliflower. I've been dehydrating nuts quite a bit to have as a snack. That's not something I knew anything about before the cleanse. The tuna, I like the sunflower seed tuna a lot. And I actually liked that raw yam bisque. I know somebody else was in here one night and wasn't crazy about it, but I really liked that. So
one of my favorites too. I love it too.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Yeah. Well,
And
just your experience with being raw though, like now what percentage are you raw? And like while you were doing the program, like how did you feel that being raw felt compared to how you were before? Just curious on that.
Well, I felt lighter and I lost weight. I mean, I had a few pounds that I kind of wanted to lose, but it's not like I was overweight or anything, but the weight loss, and I've been struggling a little bit to keep it down, but I felt lighter. And yeah, I really liked how it made me feel.
Yeah. Any like words of wisdom to some, because I know that there are some people in here who haven't done it or who are just starting it. So any words of wisdom that like you find helped you to make it simple or simpler, or like things that you think are like kind of key to being successful with it?
I think definitely to do the grocery shopping twice a week, not just do it once, because of room in the refrigerator and also just longevity of the produce. To have a day where you just kind of devote to making a whole bunch of things so that you have them all ready. I was making the salads every single day, and it was taking me a lot of time. And so now I make, even though it's a sprout salad, I make more. So I have it for multiple days. I shred beets and carrots up all at once and have them in a container in the fridge. So they're kind of all ready to go. So I think just the planning the meal prep, once I got through the first week and did it as everything was, said to do it or whatever, I kind of came up with my own little system that worked better for me as far as the time is concerned.
Yeah, because I think that that's a big thing. Like when you're doing it long term, it's like how to make it part of your schedule, and that's something that we can work with everybody. So let's see, a couple questions. Paula said, "Are you doing wheatgrass regularly? I have given up after a very good try. Can't handle it on my stomach."
I do wheatgrass almost every day. Some weeks I do it 7 days, and some weeks I do it Monday through Friday and not on the weekend for whatever reason. I don't really know. But even with that, I will juice it. I now juice it and freeze it. It just is easier for me to do that than to spend the time, because I exercise in the morning. I get up and that's the first thing I do. So I drink some water, and then I thaw out the wheatgrass and drink that before I go out for a run or whatever. And that the freezing has worked better for me than to juice it when I, but 1 shot, 2 ounces. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'm planning to continue that.
Yeah. I guess little shout out for Paula, if anybody's on the market for a wheatgrass juicer. She's selling hers, so you can reach out to me and I'll connect you. She's selling her wheatgrass juicer. Best offer. Best offer.
I don't know.
Victoria,
Okay.
what did you say?
I
Hi,
see somebody.
I don't know if can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm not good with this. Quick question on the wheatgrass.
Yes.
Remember the one you sent to me? I had to freeze them.
Yes.
Oh my God, boy, it was a disaster.
Oh no, what happened?
So I tried to juice it. It didn't come out nice. And then now my juicer will not open. I guess, I don't know.
Juicer
It
stopped.
just locked my juicer. My juicer is stuck. I've tried everything. And so what I did, I threw everything out of the freezer. And I don't know, when you start, do you have headache with wheatgrass the first few days?
A headache with wheatgrass. It can happen. Yeah, but it could be that you're having too much.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
So
I've been having the 2 since I started. I didn't start slow.
yeah, if
I've
you
been having
yeah,
2
just start
ounces in
with
the
a half an
morning.
ounce. Start with even a half an ounce at first. If you're having any kind of headache or migraine or something like that, then it's probably
Yes.
too much for your body at first. So just have like a half an ounce. Really good question. And as far as your
Also, don't do 2.
yeah, just even start with a half an ounce or an ounce. If you're having a negative reaction, then it's probably that it's just a little bit too much. Your body's not used to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, just have a little bit less. And Amanda said maybe you're having detox symptoms. That could very well be true, but I would say still, if you're having a negative experience, that to have a little bit. And it is very common for people to have headaches when they're having detox symptoms. That's like the most common symptom. But that usually happens.
So you
Like,
can because I don't have any now. I threw everything in the garbage.
you threw
So
away.
now I don't have.
Too?
I threw it out. And maybe I'm going to have to send my juicer to you. It wouldn't open. For some reason, the frozen wheatgrass did something to the juicer. I can't open it. I've tried everything.
Okay, don't worry.
It
I'm
just
going to
will
go
not
on
open.
FaceTime with you and we'll take a look at it. And if you have to send it to me, I'll fix it for you here, okay? Or we'll send you a new one. Don't worry.
Yeah, then that means I can't juice. Oh Lord Jesus.
It's okay.
Okay, anyway,
We'll
I'll email you. I'll talk to you. So, I'll text you later. So let me
yeah,
know.
no, but
Yeah,
please,
okay.
because I'll help you with that.
So now it's a relief to know that the wheatgrass can give me headache because I started having this headache. I'm like, why is this headache?
Yep.
But then
Yep.
I was still drinking the frozen one. It was horrible. It looked disgusting. I drank a couple of times. Huh?
I paid her to say that.
It wasn't good, the frozen one. It was horrible, but I still drank it. I drank it twice. So before I decided to throw it out. So I threw out everything. So now I don't have any. So I need supply.
We're gonna fix the problem, I promise.
Okay, so I have to send it back?
Text me. We'll work on it together, okay?
I'll text you so we can talk. So it's not part of it. Okay.
Call me tomorrow. Margaret Kenny said, do you drink coffee? Is that something I need to give up? Heidi, I'm curious what you think on that.
I don't know. There's so many mixed things about coffee. I have switched to decaf. I occasionally have caffeinated coffee and I've mixed in, I have some mushroom coffee. There's a couple different brands. And so I drink that too sometimes. But I've just cut down. That was really kind of the only caffeine I was probably getting. And so I drink decaf now, but Swiss water processed or whatever, so that it's, better supposedly, I guess.
Yeah. Margaret, did you want to?
Yeah, I got it down to 2 cups a day, but since I just developed this high blood pressure, I brought it down to 1 cup, and I'm doing the wheatgrass. I love the wheatgrass, and I like doing it fresh, and so that's something that I'm going to increase. So I do a 2-ounce shot of it. Right now I'm doing a 2-ounce shot, and I tend to take it in the afternoon. But when you send me the 3-pound bag, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna be doing it in the morning and at night.
Woo! She was
So-
like, I had her on a one pounds a week auto, and she was like, I need a 3 pounds a week.
So maybe I could replace the coffee with the wheatgrass shot.
Yeah, so that's something that people definitely work towards. And I think that, like, because of the energy levels, especially having it in the morning and in the afternoon, it's a complete game changer energy wise. I think a lot of times people drink coffee just because they enjoy coffee, like they
Mhm.
enjoy the
Yeah.
smell, enjoy the flavor, and they enjoy the ritual of it. In which case, like the
Mhm.
chaga and the mushroom is a really good replacement, like Heidi was saying, because it has that sort of like umami, coffee, earthy flavor. So I definitely would recommend. There's one brand, For Sigmatic, that I always talk about, that has like this powder, and you could just like put it into your tea or put it into your smoothie or whatever, and it makes for like a coffee. What do you use, Heidi? That's like a mushroom coffee.
I've done the Four Sigmatic, but I do Rise. I actually like the Rise flavor better. It's RYZE, but Four Sigmatic has more products, and this company just has the coffee, and I think they just came out with a creamer too, like a mushroom creamer. But I like theirs.
Yeah.
too.
So yeah, as far as coffee goes, that's my best bet, is to go with mushrooms. But then also, I think the wheatgrass helps to curb that craving altogether. And the only reason why you would want like those extra mushroom things would just be for like the coffee concept, which
Mhm.
or tea, of course. You know, I'm a big tea
Yes.
person. I don't drink coffee at all, actually. I guess I'm a weird. I don't know. I never liked coffee, never like craved it. So I just tea all day, every day, morning to night, tea. So maybe next, I always say that I want to have a tea time. So next Wednesday, we're gonna have tea time. Everybody come, we're gonna drink a local tea, and we're gonna enjoy each other's tea. Okay, I don't want to keep anybody longer, so it's 8:30. If anybody needs to leave, thank you so much for coming. And if anyone's interested in learning more about the cleanse or learning more about how you can be part of the group, let me know. If you already are part of the group, thank you, and I'll see you guys next week. Make sure that you make a one-on-one with me. And does anybody have any other questions for me? Heidi, you have any other last love to give anybody?
No, just be well.
Thank you. Alrighty,
Yeah.
everybody. Well, good night, and have a beautiful week. And remember the strength that you have within us, and that if Heidi can do it, you can do it. And if all of the beautiful people that we've worked with over the years can do what they put their minds to, you can too. So let that inspire you for this week, and sleep sweetly tonight, and know that you are surrounded by loving community, and that you have some loving people to support you. So thank you for coming, everybody, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah, you're welcome.